Ethereum is going to receive its pec muscles upgrade very soon, my friends, on May 7th. This is the Ethereum logo. I know you are confused. You're like, but that looks like a bunch of soy on a plate ready for me to consume, which you won't be doing because soy is bad for you. What's happening with Ethereum, friends? We're going to have a big pec muscles upgrade. Finally, they're doing some push-ups. What is this update going to do? Well, there is a big user experience update, and we can't emphasize this enough. So it's going to give the account abstraction EIP. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell does that mean? I think it turns your wallet into a smart contract. Very interesting. So now you can do a bit more functions. One of them is on Ethereum, friends, there's multiple transactions needed for a swap. It gets a bit annoying. So you got to do a swap, and it's like, oh, approve this, and then you're allowed to trade. Approve that, then you're allowed to trade. Well, you can do the approval and the swap in one now. That's what it'll let you do. So instead of doing like, 2 or 3 clicky, now you only do 1 clicky. So like, I know it's not as fast as Solana at hyperfast speed when it comes to these upgrades, but we're making a lot of progress. That's the most important part, and that's coming on May 7th. Also, not that anyone cares about this, but you can do more than 32 ETH into a stake, I think. I think that's what it lets you do. So for solo stakers out here, if you're curious as well, friends, so for Ethereum, that's for nerd stuff out here. I guess the best way to get the yield is well, not really best, but you'd rotate into like staked ETH and rocket pool, and then you'd get a bit of the yield there. Remember, if you hold their token, every day you just accumulate yield, okay? But the yield ain't that much. And you got to ask if it's worth it anyway, because you're holding like a whole year, and your downside is the thing goes to 0 because you're holding another token. You just don't know if there's a bug or anything that can happen one day. Now, they're super, 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 super safe. There's billions and billions and billions of dollars locked up in Lido ETH and Rocket Pool ETH. So they're safe, but I don't want to, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, Bitcoin had 2 inflation bugs, so just forgive us for, not wanting to just jump into risk stuff in crypto when it comes to these assumptions where you think nothing can blow up. Now, Ethereum's pec muscles upgrade, friends, is going to be actually cranky G, because just showing you that things are being shipped, they're being built. Remember, everyone's always talking about, oh, they're not moving and they're all too slow. Well, they're not so fast, man. I think they are moving. And just, things are happening. Of course, you want it to happen faster, but look, man, they gave us the Ethereum spot ETF. Did it do anything for the price? No. It did nothing. It did 0 for the price. Okay? This is the ETH BTC ratio. They gave us the Ethereum spot ETF here. Okay? 0.055 ETH BTC. That was still cheap and garbage back then. And then it went, fell off the face of the earth. Okay? So what can we do about that? It's part of the business cycle. Ethereum is third cycle curse. You've heard all this stuff before. Let's check out the Ethereum monthly price. I'm getting asked, by the way, by a few baby dolls as well, friends. So this is Ethereum, right? Saving that monthly super chain. I got asked by a few baby dolls out here, Mr. Rainbow. When is Ethereum gonna reach above 2,000? I'm just talking about Pulse Chain and every other altcoin pretty much. You need Ethereum high, friends. That's it. And it's a reflection of the business cycle. It is outside of our control. We understand that, but even a $2,000 thing, this is still garbage, man. We need a 5, man. No more messing around. No more Mr. Nice Squirrel. We need a 5 in front of. And what I mean by we need a 5, like you can't control it anyway. But what I'm just telling you is like save your energy. That's what I'm saying. Like don't let yourself get upset and just to think, oh, everything's a scam and everything rugged and stuff out here. I know, man. We're all in the same amount of pain, but there's no crying in the casino. Okay, you just gotta remember that we're all doing the best we can, and yeah, the business cycle has to continue, and then we can pretty much celebrate higher prices. But like, how much higher as well? Like we're so freaking distraught from everything. This is the others chart, others USD. If Ethereum goes up, this thing goes up. The blue and the red, these are the previous cycle fractals. Notice how we just went down here, garbage. So this is very, very sad, right? Look how like disconnected from the past cycles we are. But hopefully we get to those areas, and then we can worry about that next phase of what's coming ahead. This is the others BTC chart, but I want to throw something else out your way, friends. Seems like the US Fed Gonna have to be cutting rates soon, right? I have this post here from my friend Mr. Dan Tapiro. Dan, here we go again. So he's showing this chart here, right? This is Richmond Expected Manufacturing Employment Survey, all right? This is the largest drop on record. Okay, hit this huge drop out here. Wow, look at this number. See, this is like enormous drop. Okay, now why this one's okay? This one isn't one of those big market movers, but it's a Fed survey. So it's the Fed's own survey. You know, it hits a bit differently. It's like it's like you're personally calling up people and saying, "Hey, what do you think?" And they're like, "Boo, boo." You're like, "Whoa, you're yelling at me." Yeah. Here we go again. More second-tier crypto data, macro data, signaling rapid slowdown ahead. Largest drop ever, back to '08 lows. It's a Fed survey. It's hard for them to ignore. Short rates are 4%. They are way too high. Same theme, more liquidity coming. Bitcoin to 180K before summer 2026. So there's a bit of a shift of how we expect the translation of the cycle to play out. There's a bit of a shift out there because of, you know, the 4-year debt rollover and everything. Maybe there's a silver lining at the end, friends. Maybe some big fantastical will happen at the end. Also, like you got to be an orange juice glass half full type of girl sometimes. Maybe this long period of altcoin destruction is needed to give us the big pump. Given the market caps and the multiples we're looking at, it could be that. And by the way, it is a common saying in markets, right? the longer the base, the higher the rise into space. Okay. Remember, the US economy cracking slowly, but they have a response, bro. It's the money printer every single time. What we're gonna do is let's crank it up a bit as well.
Don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you don't believe
You and me and Spoonie.
Don't you be like that? I will love you forever. If you don't
Okay. So late Jerome Powell needs to stop being a major loser and start pumping our bags. That is my unbiased opinion, even though I am turbo long on crypto. Yes, don't we all wish you get that? This is the others BTC chart I just spoke to you about as well, friends. So hopefully we go up here, but yeah, man, we started, see the green box? We always started green before. We started this green box in red. So what do you do, man? This is just, like, I don't know what to do. I'm not selling. I'm going to keep holding. I wanted to go up. It ain't going up. Okay. Maybe it turns around now. We'll see how it all plays out. I wanted to give you a quick reminder, friends. So I'm not commenting on, just talk about sacrifices, ICOs. Okay. I'm not going to speak about a specific coin or community or anything out here with ICOs projects because, look, I want them all to succeed. I'm just here to inform you about the incentives of a sacrifice, public ICO. That's what sacrifice is. It's public ICO. Okay. Okay, so I want them to succeed. And guess what? When a lot of people are hating one and maybe it doesn't raise much money, maybe you have an advantage to get in. Okay, maybe. But look, you should understand the incentives behind crypto sacrifices, which are just de facto ICOs. The incentives only align with the money collector and not the investors. This is the blue peppy smurf. So there's ones out here, friends. So it happened with Pulse Chain and everything as well. So this is just the game. This is the game, friends. Sacrifice the money collector, the incentives, right? As explained here, right? When the sacrifice is run, the incentive is to collect as much bid money into a pool and then give everyone else mostly the same price. Okay. That's the incentive. So you have a public ICO and there's just a pool, right? And maybe it runs for like 30 days or whatever. So the incentive, remember there's two parties here. There's the founder running the sacrifice, the money collector, and then there's the investor. All right, that's you and me. Yeah, so you got to look at the incentives. The incentive of the founder. You know, you had Pulse Chain, PulseX, and everything out here. Their incentive was get a very loud megaphone and yell out to the world to come participate. Now, you got to understand what's happening here. You are an investor. You're trying to buy low. You're trying to be early. Counter to that is the money collector, whoever's running the sacrifice. They are yelling out to the world. They keep attracting weak hands. All right. Now, if you could get in and get a limited spot, that's good because you get into a limited spot and then weak hands get attracted after you and the price can go up. The problem is the sacrifice is for an entry price. There's no exit. Okay. So when you're trying to be early alongside everybody else trying to be early, no one's early. You remember my famous traffic jam example, friends? If the news television in your local city said there's going to be a giant 3-hour traffic jam and it's going to start at 7 a.m. Okay, so if you need to get to work, get in early. Where if they said that, what happens is everyone wakes up at 2 a.m. and they start basically driving to work at like 5 a.m. And guess what? The 3-hour traffic jam that's going to start at 7, now it starts at 5 because everyone decided to leave early. You see? It's the same thing in crypto and markets, okay? Sacrifices can work if there is a tight cap on money raised or if it's relatively unknown with little marketing. So I want you to know they can work, okay? I think internet money worked. Some of them are limited. They were limited as well. But just showing you the overwhelming odds, this is it. When you do an unlimited public sacrifice, it's a tough game because, yeah, you now don't know the incentives. The incentive, because the person who runs a sacrifice want to raise the most amount of money. Okay, so how do they raise the most amount of money? They tell the most amount of weak hands, the most amount of non-believers, the most amount of people. And they promise the most amount of things. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And this is going to be a lollipop for you and a lollipop for you. There's going to be a pump here and a pump there, pump everywhere. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to track the money. So if there's a cap on the money, that's okay because it like raises and that's it. Like, by the way, it's not guaranteed because in some ICO launch pads we've done, friends, there was a cap on the money and we all got dicked 95% anyway. And that sucks. Okay. If there's relatively unknown marketing for it, if it's like hidden and it's not like popular or there's higher odds you succeed because you only have believers with you. Okay. This is a cute little mushroom. Trusting the process. So sacrifice projects need to collect as much money as possible in a specific time. So they alert the whole world to come and join. When they alert everyone, your edge gets diluted away because it attracts weak hands into participating at your price. So I've introduced that term diluted. That's what ends up happening, right? Because you're trying to be early. Yeah, but when you attract all the other people, like, oh man, I'm not as early anymore. You know, it was just you and like 2 of your boys. Now there's like 30 other people. Where'd you come from? Okay. Then when the sacrifice projects run or launch, there isn't very many new people to buy anymore on average. But, okay, it's a bull market. Remember, Ethereum is dog shit 1700. Yeah. Like you're playing for Ethereum to get to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8K anyway from here. Okay. So they could work from here. They could, but I'm just showing you the incentives. That's it. So you want to know why is it difficult to succeed in these? Now you know why. Yeah? Because of the incentives. That's why. And I've got to remind you, I'm not commenting on any individual sacrifice. So I'm not, just because I'm saying that, it's not like, oh, I don't want anyone to fail, friends. I want them all to win. Okay, I want everyone to win. I like value being created out here because then we all win. Just telling you, that's why the game is tough. You don't know, hey, why is it tough? Why can't you just, someone might say, right, why can't I just buy into a project early and win? Well, now you see why. It's because when you buy in, that megaphone used to attract you is also attracting those future buyers they're getting in now because they're hearing about it now. Unless you're able to get some exclusive rights. You see that? Because there's like a pool of people who would be interested in a coin, right? Let's say there's a pool of 5,000 people who are interested in a coin. Well, if you run a public ICO sacrifice and you tell everyone about it, those 5,000 people who would buy, maybe you get like 3,000 of them to buy in at the start. And now everyone's got the same diluted price. So then when it launches, those 3,000 people only have 2,000 people out there in the world to come and buy. That's nothing. You see? Whereas if there was limited spots, let's say they say only the first 500 people get to get in. And then you're one of the lucky ones. Well, now you have 500 people in, 4,500 who are going to buy in the future. But then it's public ICO sacrifice. You don't want to, if you remove people from the equation, then what ends up happening is, and so put it all together, friends. You want to see everyone win. But also, you got to balance something as well. Like it's in a bull market, everything will go up anyway. Okay, I'm just trying to help you level out the playing field. Right, it is difficult. Crypto is difficult. Even if you have fair launch stuff anyway, it's still difficult. No matter how you spin it, it's tough. It is tough. But now you know the game, right? The game is, yes, it's different to what it seems. And also, if you really, really, really want to know, which I've already told you, like the real reason why sacrifices have the results they do is because they're in their third cycle. That's why. Sacrifices is just public ICO. It's just a different word. It's the same thing. We did public ICOs in 2017. Everything did 100x. Everything. 50 to 100x. 2017, cycle 1. In 2021, the next cycle, it was now cycle 2 for them. They only did around an 8x on average. But that was pretty good, right? So you put your portfolio, you have an ICO stack, you put 100k, somebody made 8x on average. Some went 100, some went 50, some went 20, 8x. Third cycle curse for now. This is why we're just getting obliterated and all these other public ICOs and stuff out here. It's tough. But now that you know this, you can still decide, hey, maybe you see opportunity. Maybe you see a lot of people fading a project. You're like, you know what? Everyone's not in this. I want to join. Okay. Maybe just put a lottery ticket. But that's why I give you the highest value content in crypto, just so you're aware. That's why the game is played out this way. Okay. So you are now friendlier, wiser, smarter, and your elbows are pointier. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.